Go to the front office. Sadly, I'm not going because of that freaking lunatic, the Turkish president. You know, there's a chance that I can get killed out there. So that's why I talked to the front office. I'm not going, so I'm just going to stay here to just practice here. So it's pretty sad that, you know, just all this stuff affects my career in basketball, because I want to be out there, help my team win. But just because of that one lunatic guy, one maniac or dictator, I can't even go out there and just do my job. So it's pretty sad.
That was New York Knicks center Enes Kanter speaking about why he's skipping next week's game in London out of fears for his safety. After a failed 2016 coup d'etat in Turkey, Kanter, a former Turkish citizen now living in the United States, began to criticize Turkish President Erdogan. The Turkish government revoked his passport the following year and issued a warrant for his arrest. Earlier, I spoke to Kanter about his ongoing feud with Turkey and President Erdogan. So, Enes, if you could start off with some background. You are a supporter of Fethullah Gulen. Tell us who he is and why do you support him?
Well, he is an 80-year-old man who lives in a simple life in Pennsylvania. And then, well, I try to go visit him once every 2 or 3 weeks. And then one thing about not him, but his movement, and that it's a social movement that focuses on secular education and fighting with poverty, and of course, you know, just inspired by Mr. Fethullah Gulen, who follows the Sufi tradition. And then he tried to inspire millions of people to open modern and secular education school reliefs.
So tell us what happened in 2016.
Well, in 2016, July 15, I remember that night I was with Mr. Gulen. And then the news,
in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, and the news came out, and they said there's a coup attempt, and then
coup attempt in Turkey.
Coup attempt in Turkey, and then I was with him that night, and then I remember hearing the news that over 250 people died with that coup attempt, and then I remember what Mr. Gulen was doing. He was just sitting on his chair and trying to pray for his country. And then later on, President Erdogan came out and said, oh, this movement did the coup attempt. I was like, I was just with Mr. Gulen. How was he involved with the coup attempt, first of all?
To be clear, President Erdogan blamed Fethullah Gulen for the coup.
Yes. And after that, I was trying to explain all people, if you want to understand who did the coup attempt, you have to look at the benefits of coup attempt. So Turkey is the #1 country in the world that after the coup attempt, that put on most journalists in a jail. And then after the coup attempt, the whole army changed, the judges changed. And you know, I think over 80,000 people are arrested, and 17,000 of them are women, innocent women. And over 700 of them are babies.
And so tell me what you started to do then publicly and using your platform as an NBA player.
Well, I play in an NBA and I have a very big platform. So that's why I want to use my platform to be voice of all those innocent people who don't have a voice. So that's why on social media or the interviews and I was just trying to explain that what really happened that night.
What's been the reaction to you speaking out?
Well, from all over the world is very positive. I see, you know, a lot of supporters from the NBA, my teammates, from all over the world. It was very positive. Well, I mean, in Turkey, it's very negative, because I see the response whenever I put a tweet out there or whenever I put anything on social media. So especially lately, I have been getting hundreds and hundreds death threats.
When's the last time you talked to Fethullah Gulen?
I talked to him, I think, around 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And, you know, there have been reports that the United States was considering extraditing him. Did that come up in your discussions?
It's very sad because, first of all, Turkish government trying to extradite Mr. Gulen for 5 years now, with no evidence. And the second thing is, he is an 80-year-old sick man who lives a basic, simple life in Pennsylvania, and this Mr. Gulen don't even have a parking ticket, and so how would you extradite a guy who doesn't even have a parking ticket or did nothing wrong in America? All he's trying to do is just trying to bring peace and love to this world.
How worried is he about that extradition
Well,
possibility?
he knows the rules. He knows American rules, and he trusts, of course, America. So that's why I don't think that it's going to happen, because there's no evidence. And Turkish government, like I said, been trying for the last 5 years just because they have no evidence that they cannot get him back to Turkey.
There's a warrant out for your arrest. What do you make of that?
If I'm in America, I'm safe. I feel very safe. But if I step outside of America, it'll be a very dangerous situation. And I'm facing lots of arrest warning. And one of them was insulting the president on Twitter. Well, I think that shows that there's no freedom of speech in Turkey, because I mean, all these journalists are, if you speak out against Erdogan, that means you're a terrorist. So he has to, if he cannot put you in jail, then he will take your family away and put them in jail and say, if you don't stop writing against me, then I'm gonna keep your family in jail. And that's what he's trying to do. Did that to me. That he's trying to put my dad in jail. So he thought that I was gonna stop talking, but you know, that made me even talk about things more, so the whole world can see it.
Your team is traveling to London, but you're not with them. Why?
Well, first I did talk to my team, and they said, you know what? Yes, you can go to London, but if you go to London, all you can do is go to practice, come back to your room. Go to game, come back to your room, and you have to be with the security 24/7, and you cannot leave your room besides them practices and game. And I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? I want to be with my team. I want to be part of my team. I want to go there and have fun with my teammates. And then later on, we spoke with the front office guys, and they're like, you know what? It's not worth it. It might be really, very dangerous for you to just go there, and then it's not worth risking, because it's Erdogan's operations, a foreign country. He does it a lot, and it's very, very famous that he's hunting down people on foreign countries, kidnapping them, and they send them back to Turkey. There are over 100 people, that journalists, teachers, and community leaders, that have been kidnapped and sent back to Turkey. So I'm not going to risk anything, because I'm not going to risk my life to go there where Erdogan's long arms everywhere.
Here in America, though, you feel safe?
I do feel safe. I mean, of course, even like my team security saying, do not go anywhere by yourself. Always have someone with you, or wherever you go. You're going to eat, you're going to a restaurant, you're going to hang out with your friends. Let us know. Let us know where you're going, so we will have a better idea of where you're going. So I mean, if there is any problem, we can just come and get you. So every time I go anywhere, it's like, hey, I'm going here. Hey, I'm going there. Is it okay if I go there? So I always have to be in contact with my team security.
A current advisor to President Erdogan, Hedo Turkoglu, is someone you know. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, he was my very good friend, and we actually played together a national team in 2011. And he was like a big brother to me after that, because we play against each other till 2014, and then he got retired.
And now what?
Now, well, he works for the Turkish government, and he is a chief advisor of the president. So that's why we're really not that cool.
He's called what you're doing a political smear campaign, and you've had some harsh words for him.
Yes.
So tell me about that. This is somebody that you knew at a personal level that is now speaking for the president that you say has made you and your family a target.
First of all, it's very sad to see him that he don't want to speak the truth, that he wants to just be, like I said on the tweet too, he wants to be the president's lapdog, because, well, he came out and say Enes is just overreacting. It's just a visa issue. Well, I mean, I brought this with me today, so it will show that it is not just a visa issue. This is my travel document. That this document shows that I can travel anywhere in the world. So it is not a visa issue. I tried to explain to my team too. First they thought it was a visa issue, and then I explained this to them, and then they had a better idea of why I said it's not a visa issue.
That it's that you're fearful for your life.
Yes, and I mean, not just the spies in London, and there's been a lot of Erdogan supporters not just in London, all over Europe. So that's why I didn't really want to take that risk to go there for one game and risk anything.
Enes Kanter, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.